Now in this video, I'm going to show you how I basically replace the computer module on this ABS pump without disturbing any of the brake lines. And I just went down and grabbed an ABS module at a local junkyard, and I'm going to plug it in even without the other one disconnected from the lines. The computer does not know, nor does the car know, that the lines are not hooked up until you apply brake pressure to the brake pedal. So this will work, and you can check and see if your lights go out prior to installing this pump. Now, the reason that this works is because none of this car doesn't know that these mechanical connections aren't hooked up. So now what we need to do is hopefully we can take the motor or the computer off of the side of here and just replace it with the one on the side of there. I've got my fingers crossed on that part. Hopefully I don't have to change this whole thing out and bleed all the brakes and everything. But if we do, doesn't matter, because this is a pretty cheap old unit. Got it for about 125 bucks. And I use a website that they're not paying me for. I'm just telling you guys. It's called carpart.com. It's C-A-R and then one of them slashes that go like this, like a phone number, /car/part.com. And you put in your zip code in there. They don't collect cookies or none of that stuff. And if you do end up wanting to send them an email and letting them know that I was the reason that you guys visited their site, it's great. Oh, hello, folks. My name's Clay with Clay's AC and Auto Repair and the Clay Way here in Muskegon, Michigan. And if this video is helpful, please consider subscribing, clicking the notification, sharing my videos, and giving me them sweet old thumbs up. If you want to help the channel grow, possibly purchase something from our merch store, donate to us, or at the very least, if you're broke just like me, at nighttime, open up that old computer, turn that old volume down so you don't have to listen to this mouth run, and let one of my sweet Clayway playlists play all night long. If you've got a question for me, they're always free. I can't help you with your baby mama drama, but I may be able to help you fix your car. You can ask them on Clay's AC and Auto Repair on the Facebook Messenger. I certainly try to help everyone that I possibly can. Remember, if anyone else can do it, you can do it too. That I promise you. So let's get down to the repair of this vehicle. In this video, I'm going to use a shop manual, but you can get that down in the description. And it will show you how to fix anything on a Jeep Liberty from 2002 to 2006, even diesel models. So this computer assembly is held on by 4 T20 screws. Now, just in case I'm incorrect and I can't take this off without damaging it, I'm going to take the one off of the damaged one first and see how it comes off underneath the hood of the car by taking out these 4 T20 screws and having it unplugged. And we'll see if a bunch of brake fluid comes out. So even though I have probably over $100,000 worth of tools and equipment, I did not have a Torx bit T20 that was long like that. So what I did was I just cut off my T20 screwdriver style, and I'm going to tack weld it in there. I can imagine you could use some JV weld or something if necessary. And that's a 1/4 inch socket. So I can get that off without removing the whole pump. I could loosen the bracket on the pump possibly to get to the screws, but then I take the risk of bending or breaking the lines. That may be a possibility for you folks, but I'm not going to do it that way because I'm not even sure if this is going to work. But I had this old screwdriver in there, so it didn't really matter. If there's a Clay, there's definitely a way. So the overall length of the tool that I made is 2 1/4 to 2 1/8 inches long. Okay, so word from the wise, if you're going to go ahead and make a tool, make sure that the end of it is not all messed up and it doesn't strip out your screws. And this actually worked just fine. This was a 1/4 inch drive socket with a T25 or T20 bit inside it. And I could have used that to begin with, but doesn't matter. It stripped out one of my holes, which leads me to another solution for another problem. Luckily, I was able to get 3 of the screws out. So then I just took a pry bar and I started prying on it. The thinking was that I had a whole nother unit if I needed it. So I started prying on it and I ended up busting one of the tabs off of it, which really didn't bother me all that bad since the screw was stripped out. So if I wiggle it, it comes right out off of these posts right here. And we can see that it has some plugs in there. We don't have any contamination in here. This really shouldn't leak. These shouldn't. I don't know if this introduced air into the system or not, but we'll find out here in a little bit. And as you can see, these are supposed to have metal grommets in them. They didn't, so I ended up breaking it away with a pry bar. And now we're going to put the new controller on there, fire it up, program it, see how she works. So dropping this down through the center allows us to line up the two tabs and then line up all the push pins and push it into place. And then we can snug it down 25 inch-pounds if you're getting all super critical about your torque specifications. I'm not that critical. I know how to tighten stuff down without breaking it. Now we plugged in our computer module and we're going to go through the scan and check everything out, reset the ECM. So even though we've replaced the control module for the ABS, per the instructions, it has to sense all 4 wheel speed sensors before it will shut off. So we're going to go in and reprogram the computer. We're going to go into ABS, brakes. We're going to go into read codes. And we're going to get all of these codes right here. Notice what's stored. That means that we unplugged the ABS control module, but all of these are active with the exception of the left rear, which is stored, which is actually a good thing. So now we're not going to be able to clear the codes, but you can take yours down to a local shop or bring it over here to me, and we're going to italicize the ABS. Now, most of the time during the original reading, it would have said mismatched VIN on the controller. Now, in that situation, we would just do this and then it would match the VIN to it. So if you do take it to a local shop, don't let them beat you up over the price, because I know these units are expensive and they got to make a little bit of money, but for the most part, they should be able to do this for $100, I would think. Now we're going to turn the ignition to the on position with the engine not running. Now hopefully we can take it for a drive and we'll pull up live data and hopefully it sees the wheel speed sensors. And now it says to complete drive cycle, vehicle must be running at first, and then the vehicle has to be run between 3 and 15 miles an hour and turn the wheel at least 90 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and we'll get back. Well, we're not completely out of the woods, but we definitely fixed the problem that was in that system, because now we have wheel speed sensors from one side of the vehicle. So we definitely have a little bit more work to do. We'll definitely use the test that we had for testing the wheel speed sensors and possibly fix them. So when I have my scanner hooked up to this thing, I keep losing and getting signal from my ABS wheel speed sensors. And I noticed one problem right away. When I would move the wires, some of them would start working, some of them wouldn't. So I need to eliminate the possibility of von hackery that's been happening inside this plug connection. Somebody, if we look down close at these wires, and I don't know exactly, so many of them are pierced, but they're pierced, which even if it worked, eventually that would cause corrosion. So I decided to go down to the junkyard and get another wiring harness out of here. And one of the first things that I noticed is this black red plastic part inside there, and this one doesn't have one. So one of the things that's happening in here is when you stick this on here, if it wiggles at all, it's going to take the connection away from there because it's not full and can't stay stable inside the connector. So I'm just going to replace it. I've got one identical to it that doesn't look like it's ever been hacked all up. I took the electrical tape off of here, and I'm going to solder in a bunch of connections. This is going to take me freaking hours to do this, but hopefully when we get this done, our Jeep won't have any ABS lights on. So after looking this over, I figure out that the wiring harness is bad, and I'm going to use some of this stuff to reconnect all the wires. You can check out the video of that later. Well, after putting the wiring harness in there, I'm all set to go, and all of my lights are off. And everything's working the way it should. But we got them all reading. We don't have any lights on, and everything is reading perfectly. So good work to me. Hopefully that video was helpful, and you folks got your Jeep back on the road, got everything all fixed up on it. If it was, please consider subscribing, clicking the notifications, sharing my video, and giving me them sweet old thumbs up. If you've got a question for me, you can hit me up on Clay's AC and Auto Repair on the Facebook Messenger. I can help you your automobile, but I cannot help you with that old baby mama drama. Remember, if anyone else can do it, you can do it too. God bless and have the best of days.